A manga series that breaks up its material into segments is something that I'm honestly not all that much used to. And when I say segments, I really do mean segments. Like, I'm more used to full on arcs, to where arcs can last from anywhere from, say, 12 chapters all the way up to fucking, uh, like maybe 20 volumes. That's what I'm used to. Not to the segment of parts, to where, as in, this volume, okay, the entire story of Hyou and his family getting slaughtered by who he assumes to be Tora, but then learns later on that it's actually not him. You see, that story starts in volume 2, but gets concluded in this volume, which is volume 3. Before I go any further talking about this, okay, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Make sure that notification looks like a bell. Click on that. Make sure the bell is ringing. That way you will know when I put out another video. Okay, so let's get into this. So the Hyou storyline comes to an end in this volume. Now, it's just the end of his assumption of Tora being the culprit that slaughtered both his wife and daughter. Because Hyou was just a regular dude at one point. He had no idea about fucking yokais and divinations and, all that shit. He didn't fucking know about any of this. Until one fateful night, yokais basically broke into his house, killed his wife and daughter, and while leaving, the yokai left a scar across his face, leaving 3 scratch marks, I think, on his right eye, I believe. Now, Ushio, at first, he kind of set these two up to fight, because Ushio had been having, some really tough times with Tora, and it was like, you know what, if someone else can exterminate him, fucking fine. But Ushio's morals would not let that injustice just be, because it was basically eating him up inside, knowing full well that, one, Tora couldn't have done it, because the murder happened 15 years ago, and 15 years prior, Tora had the beast spirit implanted into him, which had been implanted into him for over 500 fucking years. So it couldn't have been Tora at all. 2, the fact that the scratch marks that Ushio received from Tora were 4. Okay, there are 4 claws marks, while Mr. Hyou only had 3 claw marks. Maybe not the best evidence, but it was good evidence enough. And after a while, the guy Hyou, he did come through. Well, after beating Ushio's face into a bloody pulp, he finally came through and realized that what he was trying to do was essentially murder, because, yeah, he could have still killed Tora if the fight would have prolonged longer, and also if Ushio had never intervened in that fight. Maybe Tora would have eventually been killed, but here's the thing though, okay? The actual yokai that slaughtered his family would still fucking be out there. And he would have, well, he would basically be starting back at square one, because his family would have never been avenged. And such, this story for Hyou right now is at a close. Now, will we see Hyou in the future? Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. But the one thing I will say about this story, though, is that it does give us a more distinctive look at Ushio. And also, it solidifies even more his character. The fact that he does stuff for himself. I mean, for others, not really himself. However, this time, the author kind of flipped the script on us to where he was doing something for himself, and when he did it for himself, meaning, allowing Hyou and Tora to basically kind of meet, and for him at first wanting Tora to be executed by Hyou, when he was doing that, he was doing it for himself. And then we saw that conflict of interest to where he, even though Tora pisses him off and he utterly despises the yokai, he just could not let it go that what was happening was technically wrong. And that is the kind of character growth that I fucking love. Okay. Now, next story concludes Volume 3, and that is the story of the Ayakashi. The Ayakashi is a giant-ass sea serpent that had been devouring sailors and ships and all bunch of shit. And with this story, we get to see a couple things. One, I believe I want to say it's the first time that we've actually seen the two titular characters in a joint attack formation, which my guess is that this is going to be something that will more or less be addressed in future installments of the story. And it also shows us that Tora is actually well respected amongst the yokai community, seeing as how the caretaker of the sea, the Umizatou, refers to Tora by a very ancient old name, which I believe was Nagatobimaru. I believe that was the name. And by doing so, actually shows his respects to Tora and not just having him go by any whatever name that he's now being called. Because apparently, every single time Tora is around people, they always give him different names. So I'm wondering if this name is his actual true name, and not just the perceived name from how somebody perceives what he looks like through their own eyes. Kind of like how, Ushio was like, okay, you look like a tiger, so I'm going to call you Tora, because Tora means tiger in Japanese. You see. Now, the best thing about this is that the biggest character development in this part is actually not for Ushio, and it's also not for Tora either. It's Asako, the girl that's always basically teasing Ushio. Because for the first time, we do get to see how she would act towards, towards someone that kind of acts like Ushio, but, well, is a lot younger. And it's through her we also do get to see more character growth with Ushio and Tora. Now, I've never now, mind you, I never said that there was no character growth for these two. It's just that her character growth was more so, I'd say. Maybe someone could argue that it wasn't. I will argue back saying that it was, because here's the thing. For the most part, throughout the last couple volumes, Asako has always been, how you put it? It's always felt that her role was just to kind of antagonize Ushio, or get antagonized by Ushio, which would then resort into her insulting and basically like kicking him or hurting him, whatever, and them doing this like little back and forth kind of deal, which kind of reminds me of like what was her name, Akane and Ranma, like that kind of thing. That's what it reminds me of. And other anime characters do this as well, to where you have like one character who will get on the other character's nerve, and the other character will fight back, and half the time it's a boy and girl sort of relationship that this happens with. But this is the first time we actually, we really do get to see what she is like with other individuals, especially other individuals who utilize acting out as a way to try and communicate with others. Because sometimes when people act out, it's not because they're just doing it for the fuck of it. It's because they have no other avenue of releasing that. Which brings me also to another character, which I don't think we're ever going to see ever again. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. That is Tatsuya. Tatsuya, to me, the kid is more of a plot character. Okay, what I mean by this is there are certain characters that an author will write where their whole existence is just for the plot. That's it. Now, you guys are probably thinking, wait, ain't that every character? Nope. A plot character, or let's reinvent this and call it the arc character, is a character that only exists in the realm of the current plot or current arc. Once the arc is complete, the character is then never really heard from ever again. If they are heard from again, it's only to express a world event that happens within the story. Kind of why you'll have in some other series, you'll have a character that will appear in, let's say, the second volume, but then you won't see them until like way later in the story, like the 40th or the 50th volume. But then when you see them, it's more so of them just reacting to the situation at hand, which might be something about like the world coming to an end, and oh, what's that? That character's reacting. It's that kind of thing. So, and also Tatsuya was a way for the writer to basically show us, in a sense, how Ushio was like as a kid, because the beach that they all go to is the first time Asako and Ushio actually met. And also it's the first time that Asako witnessed Ushio when he was just running rampant, and mainly because he didn't really have a mother, so he acted out. But then also got to see where he went from that to being a lot more cool-headed. But the one thing that really gets me, though, and is the one thing that if I were to read this as it was coming out in Japan, which, mind you, the series has been done and over with for a good hot minute, okay, is the fact that this volume ends with Umizatou, with the caretaker of the sea, Umizatou, basically telling Ushio that his mother is in fact still alive. And seems that the yokai does not like her one single fucking bit. So, will the fourth volume touch upon this? Who knows? What I do know is, you won't fucking know if you don't follow me. So, subscribe to the channel. And what do you guys think of Ushio to Tora Volume 3? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. If you'd be so kind to give a thumbs up to the video, that way the YouTube algorithm will know that my content is worth watching. Also, I'll say that once again, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, okay, hit that notification icon. Make sure that bell is a ring-a-ding-dingin'. And have a great fucking day. Bye-bye.